Welcome back to the Evolv podcast. I'm Rianon.
And I'm your better host, Brendon.
All right, we'll leave it at that. But for now, pretty much what this podcast is all about is self-development, health and fitness, and our journey starting as brand new business owners.
Let's go. Make sure that you share this around because I'm telling you right now, this is the best podcast you've ever seen.
Enjoy, guys. Ciao.
Welcome to Pepsi Italian and Nice.
Welcome back to another episode of the Evolv podcast with Brendon and Rianon. And today we have a good friend of ours. He runs a nice little shop up in Earlwood called Pep's Italian Ice and Panini Bar. Now, Pep, welcome.
Hello. How you guys going?
Going well.
Not
Are we
too
gonna
bad. This is round 2.
Yeah, okay. I was just about to say
Yeah,
that.
we're gonna
the
mention
fact
it.
that we failed the first one. Or
Yes. So we sat here for an hour and a half last time, spoke about everything and anything, and Brendon didn't empty his phone storage. So we're here again for round 2. But I feel like that was a good icebreaker to get you comfortable with this whole podcast.
Oh yeah, I was shitting it. I was
Yeah.
absolutely shitting it.
It's very daunting having like cameras and lights and everything on you and headphones, and you start hearing your voice and you're like, oh my God, what am I saying? What am I going to do?
As long as I don't say anything racist, then I'm
Sweet.
sweet. That's all. Don't worry.
Pep, give us a little bit of a rundown of your shop, what you do, and where it all began.
Well, I was born on the 8th of May 2000 out of my mother's womb. Look, we had a family business before opening this shop here. I don't want to. We're deleting the first podcast. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so I'll start the story
Start
again.
fresh.
So we had a family business before, and importation and wholesale and stuff like that. And we sold the business last year in October. And the agent that sold the business said, "You guys live in Earlwood. Do you want to have a look at this property here?" And my dad always wanted to do a gelato shop, so I said, "Bloody oath, let's do it." I love food and I love eating even more, so it was a good thing to be able to make my own food. And instead of doing gelato, we thought let's do something a bit different. Italian ice, which is like a granita, fresh fruit, healthier for you, which is a bit ironic coming from me, but it's healthier for you. It's delicious. And the panini definitely aren't healthy for you, but they're also delicious.
The
So
paninis are gone.
there you
We
go.
have to go. We have to go and actually.
Reason my
grab
true mate, Brendon hasn't been to the shop yet. So
I haven't
fuck
been
you,
there
Brendon.
yet.
It's so local.
I
What
saw
is-
one of your TikTok videos where you were like cutting the panini. I was like, I've never seen a panini that nice before.
Yeah, delicious, mate, delicious. And I quality control everything that goes out. I taste 3, 4, 5 times
Yeah.
just to make sure it's perfect.
That's it.
And you can't just taste a bite; you have to have the whole thing. Otherwise, it's not. You know,
Oh,
there might be a
yum.
bit at the end that's not as nice as the first one. So
It's a little bit disrespectful if you don't finish it.
exactly right.
And especially being Italian, like, mate, that wooden spoon's coming out if you don't finish
The
it.
nana would be killing you.
There are kids starving in Africa, mate,
Yep.
and not on my watch. All right? So
You're not leaving this place until you finish your food.
That's right. And if you're really that hungry, send me to Africa, and you can eat me if you want. I'll feed the whole bloody village for 2 winters.
Now, obviously, starting your own business, it's a very daunting step to take. It's not something that people just think of overnight. You've obviously been around your dad, who was running a business prior. Where did your love for obviously what you're doing now start from?
I think being a wog, is that racist? I don't know. But anyway, being a wog, growing up in an Italian family, and I always felt like, even though we're in Australia, I think you guys can relate to being Italian and Portuguese. It's almost like you bring Portugal, you bring Italy to here. You know what I mean? Your family's the same. You do the Sunday lunches, and even though we're so close to each other geographically and whatever in Europe, we all have our little beefs and whatever. But we're so similar. I think that's the old story of
It's all
fighting your
similar
neighbours.
cultures, but we have our also differences as well.
That's right. That's right. We have panini. You have
Portuguese chicken.
Portuguese. Yeah. Well, it's gonna do panini similar to the French. I don't know. Portuguese chicken.
What do they call it? Bifanas.
Bifanish. Yeah.
Close enough.
So just growing up in an Italian household, loving food. My dad was a chef before my time, before I was still in the sky when that was happening. But just grew up in restaurants, grew up in food, stuff like that. Always loved it. Italian grandmother, all credit to her. My mother's a good cook too, so just came natural, I think, And now opening the shop,
All
I'm
fell
just
into
like,
place.
well, not to be cocky, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like this is what I'm meant to do. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I love dealing with people on that level. The work that I was doing before was a lot more sales rep stuff, so I'm
Yeah.
still dealing with people, but it's not as like hectic
Personal.
and full on, more one-on-one,
Yeah.
which I really enjoy as well.
Yeah.
yeah, so I think it was just something that came natural, something that was fun and easy, and all credit to Nonna, had a great cooking.
And that's obviously a credit to your upbringing as well, like being able to communicate with people on that one-on-one level and create an environment that's so strong and approachable. That's obviously what starting your own business is about, and what Brendon and I have both discovered is that, you know, we can do that for our one-on-one clients. Why don't we just make a business that, you know, can benefit everyone else in that communication level too?
100%. And with your nonna growing up and everything, like I can say, like I love food. And with my grandmother, I've always been over her house and eating her food and all that kind of stuff. How do you make that transition from, you know, loving your nonna's cooking and the food in that environment and actually doing it yourself and making your own meals?
Funnily enough, my nonna never taught me any of her recipes. She's a gatekeeper. She does not share any of her recipes.
The book is locked.
But like, I'm sure you guys know, like when your mum or nonna's in the kitchen, they don't want you fucking around. They don't want you there like, what's this? What's that? Taste this. Like, let me help you out. They just want to do what they got to do. They got to feed 20 people at lunchtime.
And the most is like tasting the pasta to see if it's ready.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
the
Stir the
most.
pot for me, whatever, bloody, and then wash the dishes. She lets me wash the dishes afterwards. It is different, like cooking at home and cooking like commercialized, like in a business or whatever. Nothing you do can replicate cooking at home, or even I'm doing Italian food. You can never replicate what they have in Italy. Just the quality, the fact that it's not sprayed with anything, it's raised well under the sun, like the lemons, everything like that. So it can never compare, unfortunately. I actually had an idea during COVID. I'm like, to Nonna, she wasn't on it, but I said, you have a big house. Let's do like, you know, like people from fucking North Sydney or whatever, they don't have Italian experience. Let's do like paid dinners and whatever. People come and have the Nonna experience.
Like an
Airbnb,
Airbnb, but for dinners.
Exactly right. Exactly right. But yeah, so I try to replicate her as much as I can in everything that we do. And my dad has like more of the chef techniques, you know, to apply things in practice, like when you're doing big quantities and portions and whatnot. But yeah, it's fun. You know what I mean? Like I asked my nonna for a couple of recipes. Like we do polpette, meatballs in one of our panini. We also do our chicken cotolette, chicken schnitzels. And I said to her, I said, can you give me the recipe? She goes, I don't fucking have a recipe. What do you want from me? So I said, come to the shop, you make them, and then I'll take notes. And so we tried to replicate it. And nothing we do will never be the same, but bloody delicious still. So there you go.
Yeah, because they don't have a recipe book. They just go off their mind. It's like, oh, I've made this over the last 20 years, 30 years.
Muscle memory, mate. Like you guys doing a bench press, she smashes the reps out, mate.
It's like my nonna. I go up to Blacktown to visit her, and we always sit down and we go, what number recipe is this? 1,347. And she's like, yeah, around about that. Because it's just, as you said, muscle memory. It's just
Encyclopedia, mate.
repetition.
Encyclopedia for food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what a skill.
It's the best.
100%.
It's the best. And now you're obviously taking the skills that you learned from watching your nonna and now putting it into practice.
And washing the dishes.
And washing the dishes. You still washing the dishes?
I actually, most people when they come to the shop and I talk, like, this is like on a business level, but I'm sure you guys know, if you outsource like a PT to work in your business, like it's never the same passion and like, oh yeah, how are you, sign up, all the rest of you guys care and you take that extra mile. And when customers come into the shop and I'm dealing with them, they're always like, oh, what's your name, whatever, and I'm like, I'm Pep. Oh, you Pep, you're Pep, whatever. And I say, yeah, I wash the dishes, you know what I mean? Like I give credit to all my staff as well. I try to step back and that's to be a system in place. So let them do what you got to do. You go in there and you check everything.
Yeah.
And I had a situation yesterday, the same thing. Like, you can't do everything, but I had that panino you said you saw on TikTok the other day of like, it's got schnitzels and mozzarella, salami, ham on it, sauce, whatever, basil, parmesan.
Looked amazing.
Oh.
Delicious. But I had some of my people in the kitchen making it, and it's like, that's not how I told you to make it, or the rest of it, let me do it. And then the reaction I get of one person that had the one that they made and one person that had the one that I made, it's like night and day, you know what I mean? But you can't do everything. I forgot what the question was. What was the bloody question? What was that?
That's all right.
Sorry.
That's all right. I was going to go on about actually the structure of a business and how important it is as well. Obviously.
But like with what you're saying and stuff, when you're, you know, scaling something at the scale that you're going through, like with the restaurant, with the business you have, you're going to sacrifice quality down the track because you can't be there cooking, washing dishes, plus do marketing, plus do your videos all at the same time.
100%.
You got to let go of the reins a little bit.
We spoke about it the last podcast as well, and it's an example many people use. But Macca's is really the basis of all this kind of stuff. And if you watch The Founder, which I think you guys have watched it, like the first McDonald's was like the best burgers, this and that, whatever.
They were like perplexed at how popular it got just from something so similar as takeaway, as simple as takeaway.
That was
like,
a system.
That was a system and a structure in place.
But like you're saying, the first shop is always going to be the best thing. When you grow and whatever, you sacrifice quality. I actually haven't had Macca's since they had bloody plastic straws. That's how fit and healthy I am. But anyway, but regardless whether you like their food or not, their system is a good thing. And from watching the movie, it's about real estate and all the other technical things.
It's more the real estate side, yeah.
But it's more about like having the system in place to train people, and that's somewhat easier to do in food, I would say, than like something like you guys are doing, where it's more one-on-one or whatever, because you're more managing people. Where like even Macca's tomorrow, they could get robots to replace everyone there. 100%. It's more of like a social thing. They want to like, oh yeah, we're employing people that have their first jobs. They could get robots in there tomorrow and be more efficient, save money, whatever. And even though that's not what we want, that's what you kind of want in a business where it can be replicated over robotic somewhat.
You need to have that in a business, that personality behind a brand at the end of the day.
Yeah,
like
if your just goal is just to scale it like Macca's, then
then that system is important. But if it's to create a brand and awareness and, hey, this is me, this is what I've put my heart and soul into, this is what I've developed, then...
You can't create a robot Pep.
You can't.
No.
Can't
If I could, I'd make him have a six-pack. But for now,
AI generated.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, as I was going to say before, structure is so important, especially in a business. And evidence-based training, I don't know if you know about him.
The brown skin guy, I think he is. He's brown. Yeah, okay.
Cunnies? From Cunnies.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
Cunnies
not brown.
guy.
I'm thinking of another bloke that my mate sends me all the time. He says I should sign up for, but Cunnies or whatever.
Yeah, he harps on a lot about how important structure is in the beginning of your day and what you take on to your everyday life. How did you learn to have such a solid structure within Peps? Like, or was it just a gradual thing that you learned?
I'm still fucking figuring it out, mate.
Yeah.
I've got no clue. We're 4 months in and there's still things to figure out. But I think what you're mentioning, structure, I think it all starts from you yourself. And that's something that I'm struggling with, to figure out that myself of like, number one, in business, you're a replication, not a replication, you're a representative or whatever the right bloody word is. Of the business, like whatever you're going through, whatever problems you have, you'll find them in the business as well. So I'm trying to separate that as much as I can, but it's inevitable that things happen as well. I think that just having things itemized, having checklists, and having like every panino, I have like a printed recipe, basically, like put the bread in for 30 seconds, put the cheese on the bottom, whatever. Like Macca's does. Like Macca's have the same kind of thing. But I think, this is your guys' forte, I think it all starts, no matter what you do, you have to look after yourself first.
Number one.
So every morning I wake up at 6:30, I meditate for 2 hours, I run to the beach, 17 kilometres. Yeah, right, yeah. Anyway, I was waiting for the laugh there. I
didn't know you were being serious, and I was like,
come on,
man, this
come
guy's...
on.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Like from
thank you, boys. I appreciate
Earlwood
it.
to Brendon? Or?
Yeah. Go to fucking Manly and run to Manly in the morning. No, but like exactly that. Like you got to be structured. You got to know what you're kind of doing as well. You got to be on top of yourself, because you're your worst enemy. You know what I mean? Like I can get bad reviews. I can get people saying there's this and that, whatever it is. But actually, it's funny now. I'm at a stage at the moment where I'm so used to not complaining, but taste is so subjective. Like even PT, like we spoke about last
very
time.
Subjective.
Like someone likes like, oh yeah, pump it, whatever. Someone likes, you can do it. You know what I mean? Like a different style. Like someone, we mentioned swearing or whatever it is.
The chameleon stuff that I was mentioning before.
Exactly. And so I'm just so used to, like, I don't know why. Maybe it's a mental thing, but I'm just like anticipating, like, I'm insecure about it. I'm like, everyone's like, oh, fuck, this is the best bit of it. I'm like, are you sure? Like, what do you like about it? What would you change about it? Like, nothing. What are you talking about? But that's a mindset I'm in, because you deal with some fucking malakas day in, day out. It's ridiculous. But it's part of it. Rolling
into your industry and your business and yourself as a person, it's so important to keep you as a number one priority. And I talk about this all the time on the podcasts. What have you been doing in the background to focus on yourself?
I think actually putting pen to paper is really important. I think you can have all these ideas, and I think every day you open your phone, you scroll, there's a new fad out, there's a new way to do things, there's a new diet, there's a new system that you should follow. And I think it's very individual. Like, even the foods we can eat. Some people work better with higher carbs, or some people work with better higher fats. I'm definitely someone that works better with higher fats, like low carb, high fats, low sugar, keto stuff.
As an Italian,
I know, it's sacrilegious, but I have to.
Stop the recording.
Yeah.
delete.
I was before opening the shop. I was smashing out. I lost something like 10, 15 kilos again, and was doing like a keto diet. And then now with the shop, all I eat is fucking sugar and carbs all day, like panini or Italian ice or whatever. It's cracker. I'm getting diabetes, but anyway. That's right. Yeah. So writing stuff down. I think it might sound cliche and cringy, but like getting it when you want to wake up, when you want to sleep. And I think those two things, if you have a time when you want to wake up every day and a time that you plan on going to sleep every day, which is the ideal, it never always happens, but just that is a good start for everything else. And I think starting your day with something that you do every single morning kind of like programs your brain to think of the next step that you're going to do. Like whether it's praying in the morning, whether it's meditating, whether it's going for a walk or a run, like you plan out in that way and you go, I've done that. What's next to do? If you just wake up, you're like, oh, I'll fucking have a
roll
sausage
out of
with
bed,
muffin and have a wank and then whatever. Like it
starts the day off bad.
Exactly. Right.
Sometimes having those like little protocols, I like to say, like that meditation that you do in the morning, that 17K run you do every morning to Brendon and stuff like that. Having those things in place,
and
it
back.
ends up. And back. Having those little things in place ends up setting the rest of your day up for success, because once you've gotten through that 17K run, once you've gotten through that, meditation, you're already in that mindset of like, oh yes, I just achieved something. So then everything else becomes a lot easier. Whereas if you just have a mountain to climb through without having those little small wins, then you end up feeling like shit.
What do you boys do? What do you guys do what do you get? Brendon? Oh, I'll start with Brendon first, even though
So I do a 20K run.
This guy doing the show me up. Fuck you.
I'll do 10 workouts in a row.
Yeah, that's right. No, but is it like do you find that kind of thing as well? Like you have a routine that you follow and the same thing, like set yourself up for the day?
I'll go through stages.
Yeah.
Because we start our days at like 5:30, so I don't really try waking up too much earlier than that.
Oh.
So when I start my day, it's usually with PT or with work. I'll meditate a little bit in the mornings, but I usually go into like my first training session after I finish PT before I start doing stuff like the podcast and stuff like that. But before I start any podcast work, I'll always get some type of exercise in, because once I roll into the rest of the day, I end up forgetting about training.
True.
Because once I start working, I just get into this whole rhythm, but I only get into that rhythm because I did that exercise at the start and I feel good about it. Then I'm like, oh, sweet, I've done my exercise, don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day. Now I can just focus on working for the rest of the day.
Absolutely. Do you find as PTs, do you find that you are working out a lot of the day, or is it a lot of just counting numbers and doing that, counting the 1 to 10 and shit?
Bro,
I mean?
trust me, you should see in my training sessions, I'll pull up the couch and I'm sitting there like, all right, 10 more. Let's go.
But you're burning calories with your clients and stuff like that.
You're burning these calories with the clients.
Yeah.
You get so many different types of people, especially with you.
Yeah, different training sessions as well.
Different training sessions. You always have to be on the money. You have to ask how they are. You notice they're a bit off. You're like, oh, everything all good? It's like when people walk into your front door and you're just like, hey, what's going on? They're like, yeah, I'm all right. You know straight away. Like you got that instinct. And that's obviously what we've developed over a combined 10 years of PT. So it's.
But you train with your clients, don't you? Some of them?
I trained with one of them. She's no longer a client with me anymore, but I would be training with her at the gym.
I'm just gonna skip. That's a juicy detail there. Why should a client? What happened there?
Oh,
Why
he broke the PT ethics rules. He tried to. I was joking. I take it all back.
Did you sleep with one of your clients?
That's what I'm getting at.
But you didn't tell me about this.
Not really.
you know about this anyway.
God, sorry.
I used to train 3 times a week with this client.
Yeah.
She just wanted to get an understanding of what the gym was and all that stuff. But
just in the gym.
Oh God.
And we're back.
Welcome to the podcast. We're starting again.
No, you're making me go red like I've done something wrong, but I haven't. Anyway, so
my fault.
I would start creating a routine with her where she would be meeting with me at the front of the gym 10 minutes before, and the whole purpose of it was to help her develop a habit. And we did that over a span of 6 to 8 weeks. and she was developing the habit. She started getting there earlier than me, and then it was just over time she was slowly getting there earlier and not needing me as much. So I just used to help her develop those habits and skills. I didn't say I'm going to be with you in the gym 24/7 all the time, but I started to create those habits for her, and that's what I was doing with her. Was that creating the habits and developing the skills that she needed
and breaking the fear. I think a lot of people. I had that for a long time, like the fear of getting back in the gym.
Yeah.
And then when I got back in the gym, like fuck, people are worried about themselves. Like you're concerned about yourself. And for me, as a big bloke, like I'm thinking, oh fuck, people are gonna this and that. Whatever your head tells you,
you always look over your shoulder,
or anxiety or whatever. But people are happy to see you there. People are happy to see you working out, whatever it is. It's, where I train at Fitness One in Marrickville, mate, there's plenty of motivation to go to the gym there, plenty of Insta models and stuff like that. Not that I focus on myself, but so like the fear of just getting in there as well. And some people don't know what to do, calves and triceps in the same day, you know what I mean? Like you need to have someone that can tell you what to do and guide you. And personal training is always the best way to do it, I believe.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we preach. Is we just teach them what they need to know in the beginning, the basics, and then they learn to go, okay, I want to learn about this. Oh, look, I can tell you all about it, or you can do a little bit of research, or I can just show you in an exercise or a program, or etc. And that's obviously where personal training comes in. Is it just gets you kick-started with your thinking patterns. Okay, cool. If I can brush my teeth in the morning, and then after that go for a walk, and then after that I've got work, and then after they start creating that routine, that habit, that pattern. With obviously starting your business, did you have that in place when you were going into the opening phases?
I did. I lost a lot of it. I struggled a lot for a couple of years, like mental stuff and all the rest of it and whatever. And in the 6-7 months before opening the shop, I was probably in the best period of my life the last couple of years, just because of doing those things, getting in that routine, waking up at the same time. I've struggled with insomnia for my whole life, basically, and only in the last, like I say, that period of time, 6-7 months before opening, I was sleeping like a baby, like just little things, because you don't realize that, number one, blue light, number one, this and that, whatever it is, like spiking your adrenaline at nighttime, like I don't know what the serotonin or whatever the chemical, dopamine, whatever the fuck it is. But fixing little things. And I think, like you said, it all starts from little things. You mentioned the mountain, like, you have to see the top of the mountain. You have to believe you can get there. But if you're not celebrating little things along the way, and it's not so like, oh wow, I brushed my teeth this morning. But when you're depressed, when you have bad depression, whatever, like
that can actually make you feel a little bit better.
100%. Yeah. Jordan Peterson talks about like cleaning your room, like shit like that. Like my room was a fucking mess all the time, and now it still gets messy. I'm a fucking bloke, but like I'm more conscious of it. I'm like, okay, if I leave that fucking top on the floor for 2 days, it's gonna piss me off. I'm just gonna feel like, oh, I'm getting in that mindset of being a potato again. Pick it up, clean this, and while you're there, do this and that, and also. I think we all have, I'm not diagnosed with anything, but a bit of ADHD or whatever, that I'm just like, I get distracted too easy. So if something's not in front of me there to do it, I'm thinking about something else. So just doing it in the moment is the best way to get it done. You know what I mean?
Just do the thing.
100%.
Just do the thing.
And gym, not only physically, God knows I need a lot of physical help, but mentally is so good from the gym. Like just like accomplishing something, like doing something that sucks. You know, you get to a point where it doesn't suck anymore. You look forward to it, but it still sucks in a way. Like you're exerting yourself, you're working out.
Oh no, it's always shit.
Basically, there you go. And it would be a lot more fun or easy to just relax and watch Netflix or whatever. But you do that, you accomplish it, and why am I talking like a fucking fitness guru? I don't know what I'm talking. You guys,
brother. This is a podcast. Like whatever you say doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you actually did a whole weight loss journey.
Yeah, I did. I'm gonna get you boys to get me on the next one actually now. So there's a challenge or 100%. Whatever the fuck it is. Just a $1 million prize. 5 kilos done.
A free trip to Hawaii.
That's right.
But let's dive into that fitness journey, because you're actually pretty consistent for quite a number of, a few months actually. So let's go into that one.
Where did that all start? Was there an education behind it? Were you reading books, videos?
I think it was to get girls, wasn't it?
Yeah.
funnily enough,
Fuck, you got him.
not to sound too cocky, but like even with weight, it's never really a problem with me. Not that I'm like fucking what's his name, Hugh Hefner here or whatever, but like I'm not. That's not a priority for me.
Yeah.
I lost 60 kilos before COVID. Like I had a big weight loss, and I put almost all of it back on after COVID or during COVID. But
about 60 kilos, you can't even brush over that. That's a massive.
Yeah,
That's a massive achievement.
And
for sure.
You saw the top of the mountain, you're like, I'm getting it, and you got it.
Europe trip.
Yeah.
So girls, basically, you were right all along. Yeah.
Well, you set yourself that goal of essentially
Yeah.
going to Europe, so you just work towards it.
I've always been someone, like speaking of the mindset and whatever, like getting into that, like it's all mental. It doesn't matter. You can run all you want, but if you don't have the mental there, it doesn't you're going to slip up, you're going to fail again.
It's all what's up here.
So for me, I've always been someone that like, and I'm sure
If you
a
want
lot of people
something,
like
you
that.
go for it, sort of.
That too, but also like homework, I would never do until the night before. So I was cruising the whole time. I knew we were thinking of doing a boys trip in Europe and whatever, but I was cruising. And then I think I lost 60 kilos in like 6 months. The last 6 months before we meant to go, I'm like, fuck, I've got to go there. I'm going to probably take my top off. I don't want to be the fucking, like, I don't want to look like I belong in the sea there in Mykonos. So last minute, I just went as hard as I possibly could. Like I was working at our business before, and that was running around probably doing 10, 15,000 steps a day. And then afterwards, I would go to the gym afterwards. So I'd be on my feet all day. I'd be like you guys doing your stuff as well. And then an hour and a half, 2 hours, not too long in the gym, but like taking rest and all the rest of it and doing it every single day. And that was the first time around, and I smashed that goal. Still had a little bit to lose afterwards, but it was like just
You
mentally,
achieved a big result,
I was like, I don't give a fuck anymore now. This is so good. And that is the main thing of it. Like that is the most ultimate superpower you can have, is not giving a fuck anymore about anything. Easier said than done in many situations, but that's very important. So that was the first time I did that weight loss run where I lost 60 kilos. I was happy with myself. And then COVID came around and Uber Eats and stay inside and fucking eat kebabs again. And then the second time around where I kind of got on it was finding a bit of faith again, finding something to believe in, something to work for. And then I wasn't doing it every day like I was the previous time, like 10, 50,000 steps and whatever. I was doing
Not
more
as much
like...
as a Europe trip one.
Yeah,
But
it wasn't that much of a jab, but it was more like just... I just said it to myself, like, if you focus on, I need to have a six-pack or whatever, my goals were wrong. Like, the tip of the mountain was wrong for me. And it was just like, I just want to do it to prove that I can do it. It wasn't even like, I'm going to lose this by that, I'm going to do this by that. It wasn't like a goal, like a physical thing that I could see it. Yeah. It was just like, I want to accomplish something. I want to do something that I know I couldn't do. And actually, it took one of my mates, shout out to my Ben, he was like roasting me. He's like, fuck you, like you this and that, whatever it is. You're not coming to the gym or the rest of it. And like he roasted the fuck out of me, it pissed me off. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this cunt. I gotta go sign up at the gym. And I went to sign up at the gym, and I enjoyed it the first time I went. Like obviously your ego gets ahead of you. I'm like, fuck, I can lift heavy again. I'm trying to bench 35 dumbbells, whatever. I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? I'm so out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, within a couple of months of just going like 3, 4, 5 times a week, it wasn't anything in particular. Just like doing something every day, whether I'm going for a little walk or doing whatever, and trying to eat cleaner. I think. Yeah. When you eat shit food, and I'm speaking like a fitness guru, but like I know these things. This is what I get upset about. Is like I know what to do.
You know what to do, you just don't do it.
Like a malaka.
Sorry to cut you off.
That's because of the fact that you don't have a reason why. So with your Europe trip, you had that goal in mind. You knew I want to be fit when I'm in Mykonos with my top off. So you were like, I need to do it. You had 6 months. And that was enough of a driving factor for you because you're like, top of the mountain is me in Mykonos, I want to look shredded. Then after, you had this other motivating factor, which was your faith in your religion. Now, since then, you haven't had anything that's kind of given you enough of that, drive to be able to do it again. So I always say to people, when you're finding that reason why, sometimes you can have that, Europe trip as like that initial driving factor. But unless you switch it to something that becomes a little bit more internal, once you hit that end point, you're just going to stop and then come backwards again. Once you get to Europe, you're going to stop and then just return back. So you got to find something that's in yourself to reignite that flame.
And
absolutely.
We have people that come to us all the time with big goals, and they set them all the way up here. And what we do
weddings. We get weddings all the
is
time.
weddings, and I want to lose 20 kilos in 3 weeks, and this and that. Like, obviously not that extreme, but there's people that come to us.
Before.
We've had people that have done that.
Have you heard of Ozempic?
Yeah. A lot of people have even some of my clients to this day are on Ozempic or what's the other one? Rogovan. Yeah.
I tried it for a little while actually, and made me nothing but sick. My doctor
Yeah,
goes, "Oh,
yeah,
why
yeah.
don't you try this thing?
Vomiting and stuff.
You eat normal, and you lose weight. Oh, fucking oath, I'll take it." And I was the most sick I've been, like for 3-4 weeks straight, just crazy. Anyway,
that's
sorry,
what I
cut you
mean.
off.
No, that's fine. But that's what I mean. Like, a lot of people have these huge goals that they set up really, really high, and they don't know that there's actionable steps in place that they need to take. For instance, you started off going hell for leather for this big goal, and you did everything that you needed to get there, but there was no habitual routine that you could take on after this Europe trip. So now when you get back from Europe, it's just, okay, I can relax. I can kick back. But there was no, okay, I'm going to do this slowly and incrementally. So when I go to Europe and come back, I'm still able to, I'm still able to keep those habits as a priority or as a mental routine that, all right, I wake up, I make my bed, I brush my teeth, I do this, I do that. But obviously when people...
Not as robotic as that.
Not as robotic as that, obviously, but like...
But the thing about
more
like,
of a flow.
cleaning the room. Now you said like, oh, clean my room, see that, t-shirt on the floor, that type of thing.
That's like your first tick of the day.
My room's a pigsty, by the way, just to preface this. I'm not some like clean freak shit, whatever. But, when it comes to, developing your habits and your routine and stuff, like I've just created this habit over years of I'll go to the gym 5 times a week and I make sure that it fits into my schedule. But then I'll have periods, especially when growing this business, where I won't train, and I haven't trained for the last 2 weeks because life goes in waves. You get busier with your job and then, start falling off with the training. But you have to always make sure that your lifestyle has it included in some way.
I think one thing that you mentioned before is that you found faith and you found something like a new reason why you wanted to be a better person or be in better routine and better habits. How did that come about? Was it just something that sort of hit you? Was there an experience?
It was a kind of an accumulation of things. I think we're a health and safety podcast, health and safety, or a health podcast here, whatever, but business, whatever. Yeah. But sorry. I think we're all, as human beings, we're just trying to find the meaning of life. We're trying to find why we're here. What the hell's
going on? Like, what am I doing here?
Especially as males as well.
Yeah. Well, let's not. Don't be sexist now, Brendon, please. Women too care about what we're here, you bastard. Like I've got a mate that goes like, "Oh yeah, we're just like atoms. We're a speck of mold, and we're a fungus floating through the universe, whatever." And we are like we're just an accumulation.
It's a fact.
But you don't think about. I don't look at you as atoms. Look at you as
God.
Ree. You know what I mean?
Beep, beep, beep.
There you go. So I think
just a bunch of cells, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You can actually see
holding a podcast mic in front of us and talking about the meaning of life.
Yeah. But I think last time we spoke about your trip to Amsterdam and what went on
finding
yourself
in
Amsterdam.
That's right.
And I think to a certain degree, everyone's trying to find themselves. So I think just trying to find different things. I did magic mushrooms quite a few times. I used to smoke bud all the time as well. Bud, marijuana, whatever the term weed, is. Whatever the thing is. Trying to find a purpose and trying to find a reason for being, basically.
That's at Girawan Park, right?
Yeah, Girawan Park. Yeah.
Remember the name?
Like last time we could not remember.
We couldn't find the name.
Girawan Park. So like just looking internally, and I think everyone has that voice in their head that's like. I asked my mate the other day. I said, "Can you talk to yourself in your head?" He goes, "I think you're fucking schizophrenic." But like, you know what I mean? Like you have that. Like sometimes there's a good voice, sometimes there's a bad voice. And I think I just started listening more to the good voice, and also doing a lot of therapy and stuff like that. I started therapy with a Christian therapist as well, and I was asking questions. Like a lot of people think I've got a relative that's like asking about therapy at the moment. She's got some stuff to deal with, and she was like, "Oh, isn't therapy just like you complaining about things or whatever?" I'm like, "It's not. Like you're
more than that.
You're working things through. Like when you're on a PT and you're like, oh, I want to get bigger traps. Okay, well this is how you can work to get bigger traps or whatever.
Same concept.
Can you help me get a bigger cock, please? One bench press for bigger cock. Sorry.
1, 2.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It is exactly like that though, because a therapist isn't fixing your problems; they're just guiding you towards those answers.
100%.
Same with PT. Like you can look up a program on Google.
Right.
But, you know, we've got answers that, you know, you can just ask us and we can guide you to getting those answers yourself.
It's more a guidance.
As you said, you already have the answers on how to improve your health and fitness. But maybe having that PT would give you that accountability. Would give you that person to be like, shit, he told me to do it. I might as well listen to him. Or whatever they say, you know what I mean? Because then you're accountable to someone else.
100%.
And the same with therapy as well.
Yeah.
Because then once you're talking to someone, you've unloaded those things onto someone else and then you feel obligated to deal with them. Because before you just going through it in your own head, you're not really dealing with those problems or those emotions. Whereas once you talk to someone about it, even if it's not a therapist, the therapist is probably the best person. I wouldn't be telling this guy because he hasn't found himself yet.
Another trip to Amsterdam is in the books. Yeah.
I've definitely found myself, guys.
No.
I'm sitting on a podcast.
I found him. He's right in front of me.
Oh, there he is.
Hey, Brendon.
Oh, hey, man.
Hey, how's it going?
But I'm left out. I'll high five myself. Thank you, boys. But mates as well. It's therapists and mates. It's a blessing to have. I'm so blessed to have really, really good mates around me, good family, good friends. And my friends are like brothers now. Like it's not like we've known each other from when we were 3-4 years old and, you know, kept a 20-something year relationship. And I think like you two too, like there's certain things that you can talk about with your friends and not that you shouldn't, but like you might not get the best response out of something because when you know someone on that personal level as well, and also you understand more like outlying factors, I think sometimes is a negative thing because you kind of like try to put your own perspective on it, where therapy is like just at face value, and it's kind of like
They don't know you.
They know you, but not in that level where they can like make that judgment, and they're not trying to judge you. And there are people that go to therapy and they're like, oh, this is what happened to me, and why is it, you know? And like some therapists just go, like I knew a therapist that a counselor, whatever, and she would like. She had like her book up, and she would fucking have the phone playing Sudoku behind the phone.
No
like,
way.
yeah, I swear to God, I can't. I don't know her name anymore. Okay, that's all I'm saying. His name. But like, because some people were just like fucking dragging on, and they just some people, women especially, but they want like just drag on. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I'm joining the club. Women and men, blokes, I'm joking, by the way. Just want to like complain about shit, you know what I mean? Victimize themselves and like, oh, why me? Why this? Why that? But they don't want a solution.
Tell the whole truth as well.
100%. And they don't want a solution. They don't want to know what the issue is. They don't want to, if you give them advice.
Man, I've never understood that. You know, when girls complain to me, I'll try to give them a solution, but it never goes well.
It doesn't work like that.
Oh, that's we're getting into Andrew Tate vibes over here, but yeah, like male, female, we're different levels. I think. Yeah, that's right. In Romania.
I think the one thing that you mentioned, like I go to a therapist as well. I've been dealing with things from my past that I've never really.
Still finding yourself.
Fuck, man. There's going to be one day where you just get slapped.
No, please, no.
Anyway.
Can we record it?
Yeah. We'll record it on the podcast. Stay tuned for the next one.
Yeah.
But
that can be the thumbnail.
Yeah, Brendon gets slapped. Anyway, I go to therapy myself, and going, you know, once a month or once every 2 weeks, I notice the pattern and a routine, and the pattern is they don't actually dive into too much of being like, do this. It's more like, how about you think about life like this? Or how about if you're having a panic attack, why don't you think about what's the actual cause? So diving into like that realm is to wrap your head around it is very, very hard, especially in that setting where you're like, oh, I don't know what the answer is. I have no idea what the answer is. Finding something like faith, or finding an understanding and a purpose for what you're on this earth to do is something that actually drives you after you sit down and ask those questions and get stuff off your chest. It's a very important way of life, is to talk to people. That's why we like talking on the podcast, and your dynamic with your friends and our dynamic with our friends is very similar. We're open. We always talk about things.
Bunch of vlog males.
But that's not many people talk like our groups do. It's a very hard pill to swallow when you're like, I'm talking about my feelings.
I wish I had more black friends.
Why is that?
Just want to say the N-word freely, guys. But my mate's black. Come on, don't worry. I went to school with a lot of African Americans. No, I went to school with a lot of different people. Anyway, sorry.
That's okay.
It's my brain. It just works like that.
Now, obviously, education is key, especially when running a business. Not all the time, but having that little bit of a step up from your opponents is always good to have. Mm-hmm. You were reading prior to obviously starting your business. What were some of the books that really impacted you a lot in this journey of yours?
I think one of the first books, it's related but not related, one of the first books that I read relating to like personal development and all this kind of stuff was The Subtle Art of Giving an F. I don't know if you know that book as well. And that was the first book. I was like, whoa, why am I stressing about such little bullshit already? But on the technical side of business, there's a book called The E-Myth, The Entrepreneurial Myth, which entrepreneur's got a bad connotation, like, I'm an entrepreneur, this and that, I drive a Mercedes, whatever. But entrepreneur just means you have the balls to risk something and not have a job and go create something for yourself, try to create an empire, basically. And
entrepreneur just sounds unemployed.
Yeah, it does. It's too many gronks call themselves entrepreneurs. I know some blokes like that as well. Anyway, and this book kind of breaks down to run a business. Number one, you can't be working in the business. Obviously, that's easier said than done, and that's in theory sounds great. But even if you are working in the business, you have to have a role in the business, basically. Totally. And if you're working in the business, you can't work on the business, which is a key factor. Like, if you guys are spending all your day with clients, like if you're seeing 6-7 clients a day, you're growing it that way. You're going to have the same 6-7 clients, and eventually, you guys know better than anyone. One drops off, one this and that, whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. You can't scale, exactly right. And so trying to work on the business instead of in the business is really, really key. And there's 3 different, the book from Michael E. Gerber, The E-Myth, and I recommend it for a lot of people, not even on a business level, just kind of understanding the world. I think a lot of it comes around to sales. I think everything is based around sales. Like, you guys have to sell yourself to a certain degree. You're at the club picking up a girl, you got to sell yourself to the girl. Everything is sales, basically. Well, it's not like in and out selling, but it's human interaction.
You are your business at the end of the day.
100%.
The way you speak and project your voice, your brand, that is sales.
100%, 100%. And so in this book, it breaks down, there's 3 roles in every kind of person. It's like the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur. So the technician is the one that does the work, like when you guys are at the actual, one-on-one sessions. Yeah. The manager is when you're like overseeing everything on the rest of it. And the entrepreneur is the dreamer. It's the dream you guys have of growing a big empire, international podcast, or whatever the dream is. Everyone's got their own dreams. And for me, opening the shop, and it might sound a bit like, I don't know how it's going to sound, but I knew in this day and age, like opening a small business, it's not a way to build an empire anymore. There are people that still do it, and God bless them, the way that they find a way to do it. But food costs are way too high. Staff, you used to be able to pay people $15 an hour, $20 an hour. Now it's like $30, $35 an hour. Everything's gone up. I don't have to preach to people here about the economy and what Donald Trump or whatever, but
he did just win.
God bless America.
Amen.
I don't want to get into that too much, but also fuck it.
Like, we're diving into it.
I'm very happy that Donald Trump won big.
Anyway, finish that.
Anyway, sorry.
And then we'll go into it.
Yeah, that's right. So I knew that starting a business like a panini shop, a gelato shop, it's not going to build the empire, and I knew that. The personal brand is the most important thing. So like, YouTube, I think every kid wants to be an actor, a firefighter, or a YouTuber or whatever when they're young. But now when you grow up and you see these people that do it, you're like, fuck, that's actually pretty feasible. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that hard to do. And I think, speaking of Trump, even though it's not related, but it is like a big reason why he won, whether you like him or hate him, he's authentic. You know what I mean?
He's
like
real.
On the Joe Rogan podcast, he went on, and I saw another clip of Joe talking about it, and he's like, Kamala and their team, they wanted all these rules, and can we have the final edit? Can we say this? Can't we say that? Whatever. And Trump's like, yeah, I'm coming on, no problem. You know what I mean? And he says some stuff that you might not agree with, but it's authentic. It's who you are. And people will find a reason to love or hate you no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, you could be the nicest person. People hated Jesus Christ. He was the nicest person ever. So you just have to be authentic to yourself. And I haven't got to that stage yet because we're just 4 months into the business fresh now. But the next phase is now to turn up on the social media, on posting, stuff like that, building a brand, do food reviews, do A, B, and C, and D, whatever, be a little bit captivating, a little bit charming, and a little bit funny, and hopefully that works. You know what I mean?
That is a big lesson, but because with social media marketing and as you just said with Trump going on the podcast and everything and being real, there's going to be people that really love him and there's going to be people that hate him. But the people that love him actually love him for him. Whereas Camilla, if in general, anyone that might be fake on social media or in any walk of life, they're going to have more people that like them, but they're never going to have true lovers of their brand in a way.
You can only fake it for so long as well. You know what I mean? Eventually it'll catch up to you. And if you're a piece of shit, people will find out you're a piece of shit. So if you're a half piece of shit, you may as well just be a half piece of shit and let, people love you or hate you. We skip by the fact that he said Camilla instead of Kamala, but that's all right. We'll forgive you for it.
We'll skip over it.
Camilla and Kamala.
But that's one of the reasons that I love podcasts. You can just talk and be real. And this shows our authenticity because it's just honestly how we think.
It shows our politics knowledge.
John Howard.
Kevin Rudd.
Yeah, that's right.
Far out. This has been a great podcast. I actually really, I like this setting because it's just natural conversation. We could have 7 million conversations like this. Our last podcast was like an hour and a half and someone's phone didn't have enough storage.
No, it definitely does.
No. It does now. Well, hopefully by the time you're seeing this, it'll be out and about. And Pep, one more thing that I would like to ask you is for anyone starting their entrepreneurial journey, what would be the one bit of advice that you would give them into starting?
Have a why. I think it's been a big topic of what we spoke about today. I think see the vision and dream bigger than you think you can. I think just quickly speaking on finding my faith and whatever, in that time when I was finding it, I was having all these kind of like visions and like seeing things I never saw. And one of the things that I heard in my head was from God or the voice or whatever, it was just like, you don't know what you can be capable of. Like dream bigger. That's powerful. Aim bigger than you ever thought. Because I was never thinking, I was just thinking of surviving the next day and whatever. Dream bigger. And I think even though I talk about building a personal brand or whatever, and I won't get into it now, but when it unfolds will start to happen. Having a mission, it's not about money, it's not about fame, it's not about all that stuff. That all goes. You don't take any of that with you to the grave. Believing that you can make some sort of impact on people's lives and do something, not for yourself, for other people. And I think didn't get a chance to talk about it today. And the next podcast
we're going to do another one. We're going to do it.
We'll do it at the shop next time. We'd love to do it at the shop. There's a few issues there, but finding that why, finding that reason, and doing everything in your power to make that happen, working towards it, and having help along the way. I think you can't do it by yourself. I think that's a good thing. You guys are doing the podcast together. I've got my family and my friends. Shout out to Nonna and all the rest of it. And don't be afraid to ask for help, ask for advice, and listen to people like yourselves where we're figuring shit out. So that's good. 100%. Thank you, boys.
That's it. I love it.
Just before we end, so Brendon always says this, and he always says it to me, and it always hits me differently every time he says it. But whatever you aim towards, you can actually get. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if you want to buy a light bulb that changes colors or you want to buy a brand new Lamborghini. You can do it. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. And you've done it with your business. We've done it with ours. We've done it with this podcast. And I think that's a very powerful message that you say.
Oh, hang on a second.
What?
You didn't finish my quote.
Continue it then.
Here we go.
So you can aim for big. You can aim for whatever you want. For example, a Lamborghini. But you have to be okay with the costs that are involved with it. And that's not just material costs. That's going to involve like...
Sacrifice.
The sacrifices. The sacrifices that come with wanting something big means pulling away from other things. And if you're okay with making that transaction, then go for it. That's what I always say.
And I can't remember who said it. It was a quote once that I saw. It was like, aim and reach for as high as you can. And even if you fail, you'll probably come pretty close. You know what I mean? Like if you aim for the Lamborghini and you end up with a BMW, so
you still got pretty close.
You still got pretty close. You know what I mean? So
European, it's the same.
100%.
Just different country.
Yeah.
That's it. Beautiful.
That's it.
All right, aim for abs, and if you get kebabs, you're happy as well. All right. And with that,
Thanks, Pep.
we sign off. Thank you very much. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you guys for listening to this week's episode of the Evolv podcast.
Brendon and I have loved having you throughout this whole podcast. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And if friends are interested, share it around.
Yeah, make sure you share and tag us on your Instagram posts, and I'll see you soon.
See you guys. Little boogie to finish.